Hi, this is Nicole Omega. My friends call me Colleen. I am the mom and shaman in beautiful Four Oaks, North Carolina. I'm in gangster granny mode today. I'm just a little annoyed, but I started it, so whatever. I had to be the bigger person and just acknowledge to my godson. I was like, you know what? I touched your stuff. I moved it. We had a little bit of an argument last night. I was like, okay. Alright, fine. And we had and I started this morning to be like, you know what I normally do, as I just stopped talking. I'm not going to talk to you for at least 2 days. I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do. I just keep doing what I've been doing. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Hold the fuck up. No, I don't. I don't have to do that shit. So I got business I'm trying to take care of, shit I'm trying to do. I'm just gonna focus on my business. Like, alright. Got up this morning, went for a walk, walked over to the cemetery to visit with my dad and some of my ancestors, sitting on the bench there, and it's just kinda like, baby, you're fine, be at peace. So I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, I'm going to shatter my own expectations. I'm going to communicate and make peace. I make so much other shit. I could not make peace with this child who I was annoyed with. Ultimately, I'm annoyed with myself. I'm trying to clean up. Trying to clean up after other folks. I'm trying to clean up after myself. So, alright, fine. I was like, wait a minute. I'm not retired. I'm just tired. Okay, great. Alright, so I'm going to retire being tired. I'm going to rest when I want to rest, like I have been doing. Eat when I want to eat, like I have been doing. Okay, fine. Alright, if you want to eat, cool. Y'all stay. I got my godchildren here. I'm trying to make sure that they eat. It seems like nobody else is trying to make sure that they eat. I'm like, okay, well, let me just sit back and see who's trying to make sure that they eat. I know that I eat. I know that they won't starve. So, alright. And that reminded me, like, okay, there's a book that I have been reading, The Gordite Witch by Max W. Miller. And I had the pleasure of meeting this author. And I bought, actually this is the book that I bought from her. Because it's signed to Coley. So nice to meet you. Max W. Miller. And it's just a little thank you for it. And it's just like, I think she gave me her card with the email address. I have a bookmark somewhere around here. Yeah, but I have this as a bookmark. I have so many bookmarks and I hardly ever use them. I just never quite seem to make it to the books. Books are wonderful. They're a great way to hear other people's stories, especially people that you don't have access to. But hear the stories of the people that are in your life. Talk to them. Listen to them. Share with them your hopes, dreams, aspirations, and be your true self. Be your true self. And if they don't like it, then that's something within them that they have to deal with. But just be you. Be comfortable knowing that you are great. You're amazing. And no letter grade, no number score, no test, trick, no one event makes you you. You already are. So just be you. And if there are things that you want to learn, stuff that you want to do, learn. Get out and meet people that are doing it. or make it yourself. Figure it out for yourself. You can do it. You are extremely creative. You're extremely imaginative. You can do anything, anything, anything that you set your mind to. With enough time and a vision. You don't even necessarily, well, you do need to have a plan. You do need to have a plan. And I was like, you don't even need to have a plan. You can, and for some things you do need to have a plan. For other things you do not. That is the wonderful, awesome, amazing thing about life. Like, sometimes plans go awry, but you get where you're meant to. I think that's amazing. I think that's pretty cool. It gives me some optimism. Hope in a hopeless world. You know, sometimes it takes some time. But you have to take time to calm down. Sometimes you have to take time to, I guess, to rev up your taxi in the runway. Alright, so we are, is this a chapter book? I haven't opened this one in a little bit. Table of contents. So yes, this is a chapter book. It has 21 chapters. The table of contents. I am not going to read every one. So we're just going to do Sadies Loss, the first two. And the first two chapters, we'll see how long it goes. I want to try to keep these into like a reading time type of thing. Because, I mean, oral tradition. Sometimes it's nice to hear a story as opposed to read it yourself. Sometimes I don't like reading, and sometimes I do. So, for the times that you want to read the book. Or you can read along with me and get your own. I'm sure Max would really love you getting a copy of her book. Let's see, snap or QR, download ebooks to save. There's a little thingy there. Earth's survival lies in the hands of the Dylanians. A young Sadie Mae Stevens must weed through the mystery of her toxic blood and what it has to do with her mother's death. Sadie recognizes she is different for a reason. No other girl she knew hunted and chained pigwaller monsters. The Tetradyne rulers were overrunning Earth, and Sadie had to stop them. But how could she battle against them all by herself? Would she find help? Travel with Sadie as she visits her very own forest, talks with Lindra, the mountain with an eye, and meets one of the many creatures who live inside her forest. How will this ragtag bag of misfits help Sadie save Earth? And to top it all off, the Gordite witch is waiting to take her head. Let the legacy begin. So, we're going to go ahead and start. Alright, calm down. We'll start with the prologue. You ready? Inside a military compound deep within the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, Abast and Zariana lost hope. The government scientists kept them drugged in an effort to water down their talents. The continual drawing of blood and tissue samples kept them weak and dazed. Abasi fought to protect Zariana, who grew noticeably weaker by the day. To save Zariana, Abasi devised a plan and persuaded her to cooperate by pretending to submit to their captors, the Top Dwellers. The head governing Top Dweller told Abasi that for their promise to stop attempting to escape, he would reward them with an outdoor haven, a floral garden with a walking trail planted specially for them. Abasi's great love for Zaria overruled his integrity when he agreed to the terms. Knowing that his plans were different, until he strikes, Zariana would enjoy the fresh air. Then he would kill them all. Without hesitation, Abasi promised they would not try to escape. Then the top dwellers constructed an outdoor haven for them, a beautiful floral garden with a carefully monitored walking trail. Abasi ranked close monitoring a distant second when the chemicals built up behind his eyes. It happened in that beautiful garden when Abasi taught Zariana how to detox the sedatives from her body, making her alert enough to run. In the same garden, Abasi took Zariana as his wife and freed her by living up to his promise to destroy every one of them. And that was the prelogue. So we're going to do the chapter 1, Sadies Loss. And there's no picture, so you just have to watch me. Alright. When it happened, Sadie Mae Stevens was only 5. On that night, a moment of darkness overshadowed the nightlight in her small, cluttered bedroom. Sadie's eyes fluttered open, filled with wisdom far beyond her age. Her instincts led her to know that someone close to her needed help. Her eyes watered and her heartbeat sped up. Something awful had caused her to wake. The first wail of her daddy's trumpet voice pierced her stomach. Her thin body jerked and quaked. Whimpers slid past her lips as another wail tore through the night. Her daddy's agony surpassed anything she'd heard in her short life. Sadie hurried to untangle the blanket from around her waist. She pushed it downward. Her heart pounded even harder against her small chest. Flipping onto her hands and knees, she started the crawl across the mattress she shared with her 2-year-old brother, Henry Jr. The boy let out a groan when one of her knees landed on his hand. Sadie kept crawling. She'd apologize to Henry later. "Hello, hello," Sadie heard the frantic voice of her daddy echoing through the wall. She stopped moving to listen. I need help. My wife, oh God, my wife, the blood, it's everywhere. Why, Chris, why did you do it?" Her knees and hands started moving again, faster this time. Another blast from her dad stirred 12-month-old Ryan, who began to fret. His tattered playpen by day, crib by night, gave off the telltale squeaking of a child moving around in distress. Sadie shuddered off Ryan's discontent. For the moment, the urgency from her parents' bedroom trumped baby brother's fidgeting. Sadie had to keep moving. When her feet reached the edge of the mattress, she touched the cold wood floor of a poorly heated trailer on a February night in Beaufort, South Carolina. The positive side of her living condition, if any, hinged on Sadie's protection from falling off a high bed while prowling in the darkness. She had Henry's mattress lay flat on the floor, pushed in a corner of the tiny bedroom. Standing, she'd only taken a few steps before her daddy cried out again. "Oh God, Christine, no, Chris, you can't leave me. Why'd you do it, Chris? Why? Your children need you." Frozen by terror, Sadie fought to lift her heel off the floor. Her chest pushed in and out as she breathed rapidly. She didn't know when another horrid outcry would ring through the darkness. "Oh, Chris, I didn't want you to do this. I didn't want you to get better. To get healing in your mind." Her dad kept screaming at her mama with an agony like she'd never heard. Although young, she wondered what her mama had done to cause this noisy crying side of him. An image popped into her head, something to figure out what her mama might look like on the other side of the wall. Perhaps she'd fallen again, as she did 2 days ago in the kitchen. Sadie remembered her heart racing as her short legs ran toward her. Mama, she said, screaming, and tried to help her get off the floor. I'm all right, Sadie, I'm all right, she had said. I've got a huge problem on my mind, something major. I should have been looking where I was going. Sadie blinked and brought her attention back to where she stood, on a cold floor in the middle of the night, listening to her dad's agonizing wail. Sadie's mama, Christine, always told her to be brave and hold her head high. Even though, to one so small, the word brave had little meaning, she understood that lifting her neck would cause her head to rise upward. She just didn't know why her mama wanted her to do such a thing. Her mother's words about bravery would come to mean everything to Sadie in days to come. Brave would take her on unbelievable journeys and save her life. Sadie brought her mind back to the trumpeting, bumbling around, and loud daddy inside her parents' room. Light, she said. Sadie's sleepy voice still possessed the power to make the light obey. Within a second of her command, the lamp turned on. Darkness pushed into the four corners of the room, and a measure of relief surrounded her. Door, she said next. The squeaky knob rotated as if an unseen hand had taken hold of it. The hinges pulled back. The hollow door slowly pushed inside the room, bumping lightly against the wall. Staring into the darkness of the adjoining living room, Sadie Mae Stevens saw a glimmer of light moving from her parents' bedroom and settle into the living room. It forced the darkness to roll back. As the brightness moved closer to Sadie, its size changed, stretching larger, growing brighter, floating closer. Soon, it filled her doorway with its presence. Sadie's eyes widened and her lips parted. A hint of warmth settled in her chest. This incredibly beautiful sight had come to her for reasons she couldn't explain. Calmness and peace washed over her. The light, shaped like a narrow star, reminded her of one of the pictures drawn by her mother when she told Sadie Mae made-up stories. As it hovered, a rich I miss my babies. As it hovered, a rich, glimmering golden light flickered inside it. Sadie relaxed her raised heel, but remained like a statue. It warmed her chilly body until more wails from her daddy cracked the air. His voice carried an overdrive of sorrow, sounding like he would never laugh again. Gradually, his speech dwindled into a hoarse chanting, "No, no, no, Christine. No, 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 Christine." All the while, Sadie watched the star. She tried to feel the gut-wrenching pain her daddy's voice demanded, but the star held her attention and kept her from panicking. It stood silent, words to her, rinsing away fear, slowly moving closer until it settled right over her. A soft laughter came from Sadie. She felt just as comforted as if her mother had literally wrapped loving arms around her. Whew. I'm not quite sure why this story has me so, but I declare, I started reading it a while back and I was crying by page 8 and I hadn't Because I miss my mom too. I miss my dad. All right. My darling Sadie, I'm so sorry to leave you so soon after your birth. There's so much I haven't told you about who you are. I thought I would wait until you were a little bit older so you'd understand the hard things I'd have to tell you. Then I could train you properly. Tonight's battle didn't go in my favor. I allowed myself to be caught off guard, weakened by trying to live as a human housewife and neglecting my duties to my forest and the plants we are sworn to defend. And now my mistakes for the sake of love have caused me to leave you, sweetheart. The words her mother spoke were strange. Leaving her? Why would her mother ever do that? Mama, where are you? Sadie's body broke through her statuette pose. She started crying. Calm down, Sadie. I believe you will reach places, levels of supremacies I would never have. I know that you'll push your gifts farther than I ever dared. You're such a brave little girl. Always remember, Sadie, I will never leave you completely. It's not the nature of our kind. But for now, I must shed a body that has been damaged too much to hold my essence. How are you, Mama? Tears she couldn't wipe away kept sliding down her cheeks. I don't know what you're saying. You'll understand more when your mentor starts communicating with you. What's a mentor, Mama? You'll understand more when it summons you to your forest. I know you're strong, my courageous little one. Use your talents the right way. Don't become sidetracked with trying to make a mortal man happy who can never understand how important you are to his race. And please, Sadie, don't let what others think turn you away from your destiny, especially the opinions of your future husband. Oh. Or past husband, for that matter. Oh, sorry, personal. Mama. With urgency, Sadie rotated her body inside the star. She trembled. The voice of her mother dwindled to a whisper, sounding like she was getting ready to leave. Unbearable! Keep our secret from those you cannot trust. Embrace those who want to share in what you must become. I'm so sorry for this burden I'm leaving you with. You're so young, but the legacy must be handed down, and you're next in line. You have to grow up fast, and it will be without me. Little girls need their mamas, and you more than others. Don't leave. Mama, stay with me. I can't, Sadie. I know you don't understand what I'm talking about, but you will, Sadie, you will. The stars had begun to fade into a more translucent image. That's when Sadie felt a hand touch her head. It pressed gently, bringing a relaxing, happy moment, melting like warm wax over her body. Then the heat became nearly too much to bear. Oh, Mama, make it stop. It feels too hot. Just hold on, Sadie. I'm almost done. I don't want it. I don't want it. Make it go away. I'm so sorry, Sadie. I can't make it go away. It's who we are. Gradually, the heat cooled. Sadies. Sadies looked upward, listening for her mother's voice, which had gone silent. The quietness intensified her uneasiness, allowing agony to sweep away peace. As the light dimmed inside the star covering her body, she finally accepted that her mother was leaving her. The fading star lifted from over her body and moved to the doorway of her room. Sadie, you got to watch over your brothers. I've seen no signs of our talents in them, but that doesn't mean it's not there. They may be like their father, humans throughout. Either way, be there for them, Sadie. If they are human, they may need you even more. Yes, ma'am. I love my brothers. Your father doesn't understand, nor will he ever. Protect them and show them the way. I'm so sorry I was careless with my training, but you don't have to be. As the beautiful star faded even more and moved away from the doorway, the golden light fizzled. At her age, Sadie absorbed only a small portion of the star's message. She squeezed her eyes together, trying to store every word, helping to burn them into her brain to save for a later time. Use your gifts for good, Sadie. Only for good. What's a gift? You'll understand it better when your mentor decides it's time to contact you. Trembling, Sadie moved her head, agreeing with the vanishing star. I have to leave now. Sadie's attention turned to the hard pounding of someone banging and shooting at the front door. Sadly, when Sadie turned her attention back to the star, only empty darkness stood in its place. Sadie occurred frantically, trying to find it. She ran to an open window and caught a glimpse of it moving upward into the sky. She found herself standing in the darkness of the living room, while her hysterical daddy tried to explain to the uniformed men, or uninformed men, what happened to his wife. Folding her body downward, Sadie may collapse onto the cold hardwood floor. 3 days later. The sun shone brightly. Frigid air blew across the Beaufort sky. She sat on a chair in her mother's room facing the window. On the other side of the glass, she glared at 5 neighborhood kids as they stomped across the deck her daddy had built onto their double-wide trailer. The children had come over with their parents and many others who stuffed themselves into the living room of Sadie's house. Earlier that morning, the same people had gathered with her daddy's family, Sadie and her brothers, to lay her mother's body in the cold ground. The burial followed quickly after this thing called an autopsy. A-U-T-O-P-S-Y. That's autopsy. That's the word for the day. A-U-T-O-P-S-Y. There was no waiting for relatives to arrive. No one had ever met any relatives of Sadie's mother, and there were no known friends. Sadie had said nothing since the star left with her mother. She just sat around and listened to different people trying to comfort her. Their breath, whether sweet-smelling or foul, splashed with sympathies on her face. She had an awareness of the events taking place around her, like knowing her daddy had to spend a day down at the police station. He had to explain to them how her mother had gotten so cut up. She'd heard him telling his relatives and some of the neighbors that he would never have hurt Christine, and that she'd done all of that to herself. They ruled it a suicide, her father had said. Sadie wasn't sure what that meant. They said there was no way I could have done it, due to the angle of the gashes. He had continued. The funeral will have to be closed casket. The whole autopsy, suicide, closed coffin thing had Sadie confused. What she wanted to know was why they had to put her mother inside that huge wooden jewelry box and plant her in the dirt. Maybe this planting would help her grow upward again? Like the fruits and vegetables in our field? Sadie wished the warming star would come back with her mother's voice inside. Although she tried to have hope, the emptiness in her stomach told her that her mother's voice would stay inside the jewelry box underneath the dirt. There would be no sprouting up like a watermelon seed. Sadie remembered feeling a tingling numbness when they had lifted her tiny body over the long wooden box. Even though she knew her mother's body was inside the box, she didn't cry like baby Ryan. All she thought about was when which the beautiful glimmering star returned to bring her mama's voice back. As she thought, her eyes darted from the field where her mother used to grow vegetables to the annoying giggling and stomping of the children on the porch. Who would plant the field now? Who would write down her made-up stories and teach her how to understand them? Who would? Get those stupid noisy children off her porch! Sadie Mae stood up, as if it had come to life. The chair she sat in slid across the room. Things like that sometimes happened whenever Sadie became agitated. As she walked to the doorway, her razor-sharp eyes noticed one of her mother's garden hose that had been left out in the field. The storm door to the back porch swung wide and then slammed against the vinyl siding, shattering into pieces. Startled, the children stopped their running and giggling, standing still with eyes fastening on Sadie. Stepping her dainty feet onto the porch, Sadie still wore her white funeral dress, completed by her black patent leather Sunday shoes and white socks. "Stop it! Stop playing! Y'all know my mama's dead!" As of yet, all the details of the word dead had not soaked in. What she did understand was that no children had the right to be laughing, jumping, and giggling on her porch when their mothers were alive and her mother was dead. That's not right. Everybody should be able to laugh, be happy. "Do what she says," a boy about 10 expressed his expert opinion. "She's a devil girl. Look at her. Hair red like fire. And see how she looks at you? She's mean. She's sad." The kids offered no challenge to Sadie's command. They scooted over to a bench and crowded their bodies together. Their eyes followed her movements as if awaiting her next order. Sadie had already started down the steps leading out into the backyard. Holding onto the wooden banister of the steps, she marched out into the yard, then into the field. In her white funeral dress, Sadie grabbed her mother's garden hoe and began to chop forcibly into the ground. Whew, that's the end of chapter 1. Sadies Loss. So we're going to go ahead and close that on out right there. That's about 35 minutes. So this is The Gordite Witch by Max W. Miller. And so this says The Gordite Witch, The Legacy of Sadie Mae Stevens, teen superhero series. And this is book 1. I'm sure you can find this on Amazon. I honestly can't tell you where I found it in my wanderings, but this has been chapter 1. There's 21 chapters, so tune in next time. Tune in next time for chapter 2. 1. I'm gonna have some fun. 2. We got stuff to do. Let's see. Lindra is the next chapter. Should I read some? No. Oh, you just have to get the next video. Again, this is Coley, the mom and child man in beautiful Fort Oaks, North Carolina. I love you. Hope you enjoyed the story. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day.